When you calculate something, you're doing complex math, working with numbers and data. But did you know this sophisticated word's origin is incredibly simple, linking it directly to humble little pebbles? Let's go back to ancient times, long before calculators or even advanced number systems were common. How did people count, tally, or perform basic arithmetic? They used what they had readily available: small stones or pebbles. These tiny objects were perfect for counting livestock, tracking goods, or keeping records. The Latin word for a small stone or pebble is calculus. Yes, the same root as the advanced math subject, but originally much more basic. So to calculate literally meant to count with pebbles. People would move these stones around on a counting board to add, subtract, and keep track of quantities. From simple pebbles used for counting to the complex equations of modern times, calculate truly shows how foundational objects shaped our language and our understanding of numbers. When you hear curfew, you probably think of a time limit, maybe for teenagers, or a city-wide restriction. But this word has a surprisingly cozy, yet authoritative origin rooted in medieval safety. Let's go way back to medieval Europe, where most homes were made of wood and lit by open fires or candles. Fire was a constant danger. To prevent devastating blazes, towns and villages would ring a bell at a specific time each evening. This bell signaled everyone to cover their fires, literally, to bank their hearth fires or put out all flames for the night. The term comes from the Old French couvre-feu, directly translating to cover fire. So the curfew bell was a life-saving measure, ensuring the entire community was safe from accidental fires. From a practical fire safety measure in medieval villages to a modern time restriction, curfew still means it's time to settle down for the night. When you say something is decimated, you usually mean it's been severely damaged, maybe almost destroyed. But this word has a surprisingly precise and utterly brutal origin, straight from the discipline of the Roman army. Imagine a Roman legion, perhaps after a mutiny or a grave act of cowardice on the battlefield. To restore order and instill fear, the punishment wasn't to destroy the whole unit, but to decimate it. The word decimate comes from the Latin decimare, which means to remove the 10th, or to take a 10th part. So every 10th soldier in the offending unit would be selected by lot and then executed by the other 9 soldiers in their own cohort. From a chillingly precise form of military punishment to a common word for widespread destruction, decimate truly carries the weight of history. Ever called someone a lunatic? You might not realize you're actually blaming the moon for their behavior. Let's journey back to ancient times. For centuries, people believed the moon's phases directly affected human sanity. The Latin word for moon is luna, and from this we got lunaticus, meaning of the moon or moonstruck. It was thought that exposure to the moon, especially a full moon, could cause madness, strange behavior, or even epilepsy. From an ancient belief in lunar madness to a modern term for someone wild or foolish, lunatic truly shows how the night sky once shaped our understanding of the mind. Your kid's a sandbox, a place for castles and fun, right? But this word has a surprisingly gritty origin, directly linked to ancient Roman gladiators. Imagine the mighty Roman Colosseum, where gladiators fought epic battles. To absorb blood and provide better footing for the combatants, the arena floor was covered with sand. The Latin word for sand was harina, or arena. Yes, the root of our word, arena. But why sandbox? Well, in Old English and later German, a sandbox was an actual container of sand used in battle schools or even for blotting ink. So the name for that humble play area literally echoes the brutal sand-covered fighting grounds of ancient Rome. From gladiatorial combat to childhood play, sandbox really brings history full circle. When you say someone is sincere, you mean they're genuine, honest, and truly heartfelt. But what if I told you this word's surprising origin literally means without wax? Let's journey back to ancient Rome. Imagine skilled sculptors creating magnificent marble statues. Sometimes, during the sculpting process, imperfections like cracks or flaws would appear in the stone. Less scrupulous artisans might fill these cracks with wax to hide them, making the statue appear perfect. However, over time, or in the heat, the wax would melt, revealing the hidden flaws and deceiving the buyer. So the phrase ein cera emerged in Latin, meaning without wax. It was used to describe sculptures that were pure, unblemished, and entirely genuine. No hidden imperfections, no deceit. From literally without wax to truly without pretense, sincere, still describes something utterly pure, honest, and genuine today. When you say something is trivial, you mean it's unimportant, insignificant, barely worth mentioning. But this everyday word has a surprising and very literal origin, tied to ancient roads and bustling marketplaces. Our journey takes us back to ancient Rome, to the Latin word trivium. The tri part means three, and vium comes from via, meaning road or way. So, a trivium was literally a place where three roads met, a crossroads. These were common public places, often where people would gather, gossip, and discuss everyday, unimportant matters. Think of it like a village square where only the most basic news was exchanged. From the chatter at a three-way intersection to anything small and insignificant today, trivial perfectly describes what happens at the crossroads of everyday life. When something is awesome today, it means it's incredibly cool, amazing, totally fantastic. But did you know this word's journey is a linguistic glow-up? It used to mean something much more terrifying. Let's go back in time. The root of awesome is awe. And in its earliest uses, awe meant profound dread, reverential fear, or a feeling of overwhelming terror and wonder in the face of something truly magnificent or dreadful, like a powerful deity or a destructive natural force. So, something awesome literally meant it was awe-inspiring, because it filled you with fear and reverence or left you utterly overwhelmed. Over centuries, especially in more modern times, the emphasis shifted from the fear part of awe to the wonder and magnificence, from inspiring dread and terror to simply being totally cool, awesome, shows how powerfully language can evolve. Ever felt completely disgruntled? That feeling of deep unhappiness or dissatisfaction, perhaps about a task or a situation? It's a common word, but have you ever wondered? If someone is disgruntled, does that mean someone else could be gruntled? Well, you're in for a surprising linguistic journey. The curious truth is, gruntled actually used to be a word long before disgruntled took over. Back in the day, to gruntle meant to grumble or fuss, but also, paradoxically, to put someone in a good humor or a good temper. So, when you added the prefix dis, meaning not or the opposite of, disgruntled truly meant not in a good humor or out of sorts. Over time, the positive sense of gruntle faded away, leaving us only with its negative counterpart. From a lost word of good cheer to a modern expression of discontent, disgruntled is a fascinating case of language leaving a part of itself behind. When you say someone is nice, you mean they're kind, pleasant, and friendly, right? But this common compliment has a truly shocking past. It actually used to mean the complete opposite: ignorant, foolish, or even silly. Let's go back to its origins in Old French and Latin. The word nice comes from the Latin nescius, meaning ignorant or not knowing. For centuries, nice was used to describe someone simple-minded, foolish, or even timid. If you were nice, you certainly weren't getting compliments. So, how did it transform? Over time, its meaning softened through various uses, from fastidious or precise to delicate and eventually to pleasing and agreeable. It's one of the most drastic semantic shifts in the English language. From ignorant to incredibly pleasant, nice proves that even words can have a remarkable glow-up over time. When you talk about your pedigree, you're tracing your family tree, your ancestry, your lineage. But this word has a surprisingly visual and natural origin, connected to a long-legged bird, the crane. Our journey takes us back to medieval times, when people began documenting family lines for nobility or horse breeding. They would draw diagrams to show descent, with lines branching off to indicate generations. These branching lines, particularly when they split into three, looked remarkably similar to the distinct three-toed foot of a crane. The term comes from the Old French pied de grue, which literally means crane's foot. So, from a bird's footprint used in ancient family charts to the detailed ancestry we track today, pedigree truly has a fascinating and feathery history. Ever heard the word tribune, maybe in a history book or an epic movie about ancient Rome? This powerful title, held by influential Roman officials, has a surprising and very direct link to ancient tribes. In early Roman history, society was divided into tribes, groups of people based on kinship or location. As the Roman Republic grew, these tribes needed representatives, someone to speak for their interests. And so the tribune was born. The word tribune comes directly from the Latin tribunus, meaning chief of a tribe or one belonging to a tribe. Initially, they were military leaders of tribal levies, but they evolved into vital political roles, especially the tribunes of the plebs, who protected the rights of the common people. From a leader of a few ancient tribes to a powerful voice in the Roman Republic, tribune shows how language reflects the very foundations of society. Ever stumbled upon something amazing by pure chance? That's serendipity. This word was coined in 1754 by Horace Walpole, inspired by a Persian fairy tale, The Three Princes of Serendip, whose heroes were always discovering things accidentally. Think of it as the linguistic jackpot you weren't even looking for. Embrace the unexpected, and you might just find your own serendipitous success. Feeling like something's absolutely everywhere? You're seeing something ubiquitous. This word comes from the Latin ubique, meaning everywhere. Think about how smartphones are ubiquitous today. Understanding what's truly widespread helps you spot trends, identify opportunities, and leverage what's universally available for your own advantage. Are you pursuing goals that seem noble but wildly impractical? You might be quixotic. This word comes from Don Quixote, the literary character famous for battling windmills he imagined as giants. While a touch of idealism is good, understanding when your ambitions become quixotic helps you pivot towards more effective, achievable strategies. It's about smart ambition. What does it mean for something to be here one moment and gone the next? It's ephemeral. From the Greek ephemeros, meaning lasting only for a day, this word reminds us that some of life's best moments are fleeting. Don't waste time on things that truly won't last. Focus on impact, not just endurance, and make those brief moments count. Something that truly shines, radiating light, is luminous. Rooted in the Latin lumen for light, it describes brilliance, often inner brilliance. How can you make your own ideas and actions more luminous? By focusing on clarity, impact, and authenticity. Let your best qualities shine through, illuminating the path for others and yourself. Imagine a voice so smooth and sweet it flows like honey. That's mellifluous. It combines the Latin words mel, honey, and fluere, to flow. Cultivating a mellifluous speaking style, both in tone and word choice, can make your ideas more persuasive and your presence more impactful. It's about making your communication effortlessly appealing. Something truly wicked, villainous, or evil is nefarious. Its Latin root, nefas, means wrong or unlawful. Recognizing nefarious schemes, whether in business or personal interactions, is a critical life skill. Stay sharp, understand motivations, and you'll avoid traps and protect your interests from those with malicious intent. When you have an excessive abundance of something, it's a plethora. This word comes from Greek, originally meaning fullness or repletion, even referring to an excess of bodily fluids. While a plethora of options can be great, sometimes too much choice leads to inaction. Learn to identify the valuable few from the overwhelming many, to stay focused and effective. Ever heard a jarring, unpleasant mix of sounds? That's a cacophony. Derived from Greek words meaning bad and sound, it describes total noise chaos. In life, sometimes you need to cut through the cacophony of distractions and conflicting advice. Learn to filter out the noise to hear the truly important messages, and you'll find clearer paths forward.